Every 10 to 15 years, there's a company that creates a multi-tool that they want to compete directly with Victorinox on. And presently, we have some like from Roxxon, Next Tool, and others. Today, we're going to talk about the Boker Tool Tech City 4. Welcome. This is Haku EDC. This is Sac Friday. Every Friday, we bring out Swiss Army knife or one of its competitors, and then we just talk about it. Today we have the Boker Tool Tech City 4. Now Boker is a well-established company. It's been around since around 1890, and so they know how to make knives. They know how to make multi-tools. We'll talk about this particular one and this line of tools that Boker put together. This tool has some unique features, but it also has a couple of flaws that hindered it in the market. And I'll talk about those. Let's start off with the Tool Tech City 4. This was created in 2019, that it was first sold. Boker put together what was called the Tool Tech line in 2014. So a lot of people think that that was a response to Vinger going out of business. Boker saw it as an opportunity to get into the business of these small multi-tools. This one is one of the larger ones that they had created. Like I said, this was created in 2019. This is called the Boker Tech Tool 4 and is very similar to the Deluxe Tinker. This is the Deluxe Tinker. It has some advantages over it and different things. And I'm going to talk about all those. But let's focus in on this. Let's look at number one, the size. This is going to be a little bit less than 100 millimeters. I think it's like 96, or translated that to inches. As you can tell here, stretch it out 3 3/4 inches. It has a nice sized blade. This is a nice sturdy blade here. The blade itself is approximately 2 3/4 inches. It is well under that 3-inch mold for a blade, which makes it both legal and proper in many countries. It is a slip joint. It is not it is a locking blade. But let's start on the outside to begin with, because that's where we can start seeing some real advantages over many of the Victorinoxes. One, it has a clip, and this clip is reversible, so that gives you lots of options. That's one thing that it has. It does have the corkscrew. This corkscrew is not very much different than corkscrews on other Victorinoxes, whether it's like Huntsman or any of the other ones. And it's got a nice awl here. The awl reamer is good for punching a hole and scraping if you needed to scrape something up with. The other thing that's on the outside that is unique to it and not to many or all Victorinox is that it has a little glass breaker here. Every time I get one of these with a glass breaker, I always ask the audience, you folks, have you ever used one and used it successfully? If you have, please leave a comment on when you use it, what were the circumstances. I'm still trying to find one that uses that. I think that these are at this size, and because of where people would carry them, are just not effective. In fact, it may be actually better not to have it there. So let's go to the inside tools. One, we already talked about this large knife. This knife is Sandic 12C27. And you're getting a slightly better knife blade, in my mind, than you would get on a Victorinox. I forgot to mention that the outside scales are G10, which some people would say are as good as the ALOX or maybe a little bit better. Next to this, you have the pliers. And these pliers are similar to what you would get on a Victorinox pliers. I will show you the ones on this Victorinox. Right here. These are sturdier, a little thicker here, a little sturdier, but you know, you're going to be doing approximately the same amount of things with it. This is a spring here, and this is a spring here. This is a much stronger spring on this one. Next to that is a saw. This saw is actually really comparable, which I wish I would have brought up, to the saw that you would see on another 93 millimeter Victorinox. I've used this, and you can saw going forward and backward, which is really important. The Victorinox saw is just a little bit better because the tip is a little longer up here. And the tip is a little bit out. You're less likely to catch the top of this right in here with it. The next piece here is the ubiquitous scissors. These scissors are pretty interesting. They're bigger and larger than most of the scissors on many of the 93 millimeter Victorinox ones. Size-wise, they're larger. They seem to be a little thicker, but the Victorinoxes are a little better at cutting everything from cordage to cutting wire. I'm going to cut a little cordage here that I have found with this one right here, just to show you. And it does cut okay. Let's look at the tip. It's a little harder to cut with the tip of this one. Maybe if I do it the other way, it'll be able to cut at the tip. Yep, it cuts a little bit better. The Victorinox one will, you can tell it's cutting at the tip there pretty well. Let me gut it right there. Cuts at the tip. Obviously it cuts down here. So the Victorinox scissors are still the king of the scissors. Although I do like these scissors, I wish that their geometry in here were just a little bit better. Then on the outside, you have your cap lifter wire cutter. On the Victorinox, I tried to do a wire cutter with this. It's okay. If you have more than one or two wires, just get a wire cutter. One of the flaws is this rope cutter works. If you had a thick cord and you want to cut it, it works as well as that. But because it's at this strange 45 to 50 degree angle, and if you try to use it as this part for like a screw in or a Phillips, since it's not locking, you can bend it down. There are people that have gotten cut from that. And that's a major flaw and safety issue for people. That's one of the flaws that it has. The other thing that I did not mention, it has a little lanyard hole here that works. You can put your little lanyard through here. This is the tool set. Now, you saw one of the issues here, why people heard about this when they were doing reviews of this in 2020. And that really shied a whole lot of people away from purchasing this particular one. There's another company that makes this exact same one, Rurki, and they have had the same issues, the same thoughts about what to do with this. Now, if this was straight and they made this just a serrated blade, it would not be an issue. Because it's at this angle, and if you try to do something cutting wise, it is easy to slip and then get yourself caught in there. One of the half reasons, but not the full reasons, is that this tool was made in China. Because it was made in China, they were able to keep the cost down. Still, the other half of this is that the cost wasn't down. This was still much more expensive than a Deluxe Tinkerer or Huntsman or a Philmaster in 2019, and it still is today. That's the other half reason. What they tried to do is build a better Victorinox. I think that in and of itself, with the exception of this particular tool not being able to lock or having this really strange direction, this is a really nice tool to have. Reversible clips, wow, that is fantastic. I think that the scissors, while they could be a little better, they aren't any worse than you would get from the Leathermans. Some of their tools don't come with the pliers. You get a Tool Tech 3 or Tool Tech 2, you don't have the pliers, but you have everything else, and that will drop down the price, but it's still not low enough to really compete with Victorinoxes in most places. That's why I think that this tool, which launched in 2019, is still a tool for someone who wants something from Boker, not necessarily someone who wants a comparable tool to Victorinox in my mind. This is the Boker Tool Tech 4. Once again, if you have any comments about this, please leave them. I would love to see them. This is Haku EDC. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the future.